Welcome back to another episode of Jacksonville Buzz's 5-Minute Salute. I'm Steve Strum, as always, and can't have it without the inspirational. That's like 3 syllables.
Man, tell my wife.
No, that's like 4 or 5.
That's a good job.
I mean, it's farther than I can count. Chris Budihas.
Hey, good to see you again.
For
a guy from USCW, you can actually put a word together.
A couple times. And sometimes they even make sense.
They do.
So, we do a lot of work in small business owners across Jacksonville and the state and beyond. And it's fascinating. Tony here, that we're going to talk about his company a little bit. But we do work with the small business organizations within the city of Jacksonville, helping business owners understand how to work with the city and get contracts.
Right.
The literal representation of the metaphor we use is, you know what? Somebody's got to paint the strip yellow in the parking lot.
It's a true statement.
Is sitting here.
I know. Yeah.
Tony King, GFORCE, parking lot striping. Right?
Yes,
Not
sir.
stripping.
Yeah. Not stripping.
See, that's that UNCW business. I understand what 1P and 2P means. So you are a company that is the literal manifestation of the metaphor that we use when we talk to business owners. Tell us a little bit about your company.
So GFORCE is the largest veteran-only owned striping company in the country. From Hawaii to Florida, there are 48 franchise locations.
Wow.
So we take our military background and apply it to parking lot striping, warehouse marking, sport courts. We're under the umbrella of veteran service brands, and there are 4 brands. GFORCE is the largest brand.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And are you the only franchise here in the Northeast Florida area?
So in North Florida, I am GFORCE North Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a franchise in Orlando, one in Tampa, and one in West Palm.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
And you were in the Navy and in the Army, so we don't want to forget about that. So thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate
4
it.
years Navy, 25 Army.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
You were born in the military, apparently. Because
My
you look
father
great.
was career Navy.
There you
yes,
go. So literally you were born in the Navy. You got recruited, after first Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir.
So 29 years in the service. Thank you so much for that. And I know I got 35 over here. 6.
36.
7.
Yeah.
What year is it now? So, you guys, we can't do this without you guys, right? I grew up in the Army, so I have a unique appreciation for what you guys do. A lot of times when we have veterans that come on the show, right, one of the things that they struggle with is the battlefield to the border, right? Now, you have taken your military skill set, because I know how to make a bed. It's probably not defined on how my stepson makes a bed. However, I know how to make a bed, because those corners got to be tight. So, how did you take your military career, and then how did you morph that into parking lot stripe painting?
So it wasn't a direct transition route, or if you will. Like many veterans, I kind of didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I transitioned out. I was fortunate enough to have a friend that was in the construction industry, and I did roofing and estimates for him.
Okay.
But after working with him for about 2 years, during that time, I started to think that maybe I should do something a little bit for myself and be in a little bit more control of my destiny, if you will.
Yeah.
So I started looking at franchise opportunities. And, social media is always listening.
Yeah.
It just popped up on my feed one day, veteran service brands. And I'm like, what is this all about? So I started looking into it. And at the time, their largest brand was GFORCE Parking Lot Striping. Okay. So I started looking into what it was, and I started noticing how many parking lots that I drive by on a day-to-day basis. And I'm like, somebody's got to be out here painting these things. Who's doing it? And I just started cold calling some owners, franchise owners of GFORCE, and everybody said that, this is what I did, this was my plan, this is how I'm doing now. And I, over the course of the next 6 months, I spoke with my wife about it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take a tactical risk here and pull the trigger and do this and see if it will be as big as that I think it could potentially be.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for 2 years.
2 years.
That's huge.
Yes, sir.
So what's your biggest, I'm sure you got competition out, because I know there's competition out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So why go with you vice your competition? So, what do you provide that they don't?
Right. So our niche is that we're all veteran owned, and being from the military background, we know the importance of timeliness, the importance of effective communication with the customer, being in uniform, looking the part, professionalism. So that's what we're bringing to the table. We're trying to elevate the profession, because I don't know if you've noticed anyone in the construction industry, it's kind of a rag ragtag motley crew, if you will, of people. Not to knock any of them, because they're all hardworking individuals.
Right.
But we're just bringing that aspect to the job.
Okay, that's great.
Well, there is a difference between the way it's done. There's the right way, the wrong way, and the Army way, right? I grew up in that. How much of my life is held together with duct tape and super glue? No, only my father will know. But there is a point to that. Like, I can see Chris's creases on his pants from here. And I know I've got mine. Now, he's cheating and I'm cheating because it's done by the dry cleaner.
Sure.
But there is a certain level of expectation, right? There's clean and then there's military clean, right? And so you take that level, but and people watching this going, parking lot stripe painting is not the most glamorous thing you might see on TikTok. But it is a good business that provides a service that you can then give to people who need it to provide for your family. And it's just a very unique way where you're taking that of the military and you're bringing it over here, and people probably appreciate that. And I know that anybody who has any to do with the military understands what I mean, but there's a military way and then there's everybody else way. Yeah. So as somebody's watching this show going, man, parking lot striping, I should have thought of that. What would your advice be to him or her watching this, getting out of the military, trying to figure out what they're supposed to do? Like, what would you say to somebody if you were them then?
I would say to keep an open mind about everything, because it's something as little as parking lot striping that you never thought about.
Yeah.
That can suddenly just be it for you.
Yeah.
It could be your next career. Some of my peers already this year, they've gone over $1 million in sales. Now I'm far from that.
Wow.
For now.
For now. I have high hopes.
Yeah.
But the potential is there. Because Jacksonville is such a huge market, especially when you compare it to Tampa or Orlando. Yeah. Their city centers are kind of very central, and Jacksonville, the breadth of it is just so
wide,
huge. Yeah.
For some of the folks that are outside of Jacksonville, the city is roughly the size of Rhode Island, the state. Right. Yeah. So you're, and just for the folks that are watching, you're going, hey, need to get the parking lot done. New parking lots, old parking lots, anything on the surface.
That's right.
Last question for you.
Yes.
Parking lots are hot in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
But not as hot as a roof.
Correct.
Do you enjoy making the decision to start that piece for yourself a couple years out? Like if you were talking to yourself from 2 years ago, obviously it's a little cooler than roofing in Florida. But what would you tell yourself from 2 years ago as we kind of take this away? I want to, Chris probably has a couple things about the organizations who take it out, but what is that guy that you met 2 years ago when you made the jump? What would you tell him today, that knowledge that he would use yesterday?
Oh, absolutely. I would tell them to, again, have a more open mind as to the potential of certain industries, and then do the due diligence and homework, and then take that risk. Because if I could have done it 2 years sooner, I can't imagine where I'd be with an additional 2 years under my belt.
And it's not necessarily exponential; it's more geometric, right? Everybody thinks start a business, and it's kind of that.
Yeah.
Well,
and I was going to ask that as we kind of close up here.
What you got?
Geographical location. Where do you service?
So I service everything from Brunswick down to the border of Tampa and Orlando, because those guys are not driving far all the way up north. I've done work in Destin and Panama City.
Okay.
So, I have a wide area.
That's great. And then how do folks how do they find you, specifically your franchise?
So specifically, they go to GFORCE.com and then click on Florida.
Okay.
And what we'll make sure to do is on the Daily News Network, our website is we'll actually put your direct link so people can go click, and then that way they can find you directly from our page. So as we take it out, guys, in all sincerity, love you for what you did for our country. Growing up in it, we can't do this without it. So in a very heartfelt sincerity, gratitude for that. For you, sir, thanks for coming on the show. And for everybody who watched us, if you like us, share us. Thanks so much for joining us on today's episode of Jacksonville Buzz. And remember, live with gratitude.